The evacuation alarm echoed through the research station on Epsilon 9. Red lights flashed as scientists and workers rushed to escape pods. In the chaos, no one noticed that Lyria wasn't aboard. Lyria stood alone in the botanical lab, her delicate iridescent skin reflecting the emergency lights. The young Zeltaran researcher had been collecting samples when the order came. By the time she reached the evacuation point, the last shuttle had already departed. "Hello? Is anyone still here?" Her voice trembled as she walked through empty corridors. The station systems hummed quietly around her. Through the viewport, she watched the final ship shrink to a distant point of light. They had left without her. Fear settled in her chest. Zeltarans needed specific environmental conditions to survive. Her people were known throughout the galaxy as delicate beings who required special care. Without proper nutrition and atmosphere, she would not last long. Lyria moved to the communications room. Her fingers, thin and graceful, trembled as she activated the emergency beacon. "This is researcher Lyria of Zeltara. I've been left behind during evacuation. My life support will fail in 14 days. Please respond." The message went out into space. Lyria waited by the console, hope flickering like the blinking lights. Hours passed before the first response came. A Volfidian trade vessel appeared on screen. The captain's scaled face showed brief concern until Lyria identified herself. "A Zeltaran? I'm sorry, but we don't have proper facilities for your kind. The detour would cost too much fuel, and we have no way to sustain you. Try contacting your people." The transmission ended. Lyria sent another desperate plea. 2 days later, an Astrali merchant ship responded. "We've considered your situation," the blue-skinned captain said. "Unfortunately, we cannot accommodate a Zeltaran passenger. Your biological needs are too complex. We will pass your message to others." As the days passed, Lyria grew weaker. The station's general life support continued functioning, but without the specific atmospheric mix her people required, her health declined. She carefully rationed the limited Zeltaran food supplies. On the 5th day, a Meridian diplomatic vessel answered her call. Lyria's hopes soared only to crash when the elegant envoy explained they were on an urgent mission that couldn't be delayed. "Truly unfortunate," the diplomat said. "We will notify the Zeltaran embassy of your situation when we reach civilized space." Lyria knew that would be too late. The station's power was failing, section by section. The temperature dropped. Her slender body shivered constantly now. "Please," she whispered to the empty room. "Someone help me." On the 8th day, as Lyria huddled beneath thermal blankets in the darkening station, the communications panel lit up. "Research Station Epsilon 9, this is Captain Jiwoo of the human mining vessel Horizon. We received your distress call. Are you still there?" Lyria dragged herself to the console. "Yes, I'm here." The video feed showed a human woman with short dark hair and eyes that crinkled at the corners. Humans. Lyria hesitated. Everyone in the galaxy knew about humans, carnivores who had emerged from their planet as predators. Zeltaran children learned to fear them. They ate meat. They had been warriors. They were dangerous. But they had answered her call. "I'm Lyria of Zeltara. I was left behind during evacuation." Captain Jiwoo nodded. "We've reviewed your situation. How are your supplies holding?" "Low. The station systems are failing. I need..." Lyria paused, uncertain how to explain her complex needs to a human. "We know about Zeltaran physiology," another voice said. A male human appeared beside the captain. "I'm Dr. Taiho. We can synthesize the atmospheric compounds you need to stabilize your condition until we reach you." Lyria's translator wasn't malfunctioning. These humans were offering real help. "My crew has voted unanimously to divert our course," Captain Jiwoo said. "We'll reach you in 18 hours. "But I'm Zeltaran," Lyria said, confused. "Everyone says we're too difficult to accommodate." The captain's expression hardened slightly. "We checked the beacon logs. 7 ships received your call. They all left you to die." She shook her head. "That's not how humans operate. We're coming to get you." The transmission ended. Lyria sank to the floor, tears falling from her large, almond-shaped eyes. The feared carnivores of Earth were coming to her rescue when all others had abandoned her. She watched through the viewport as the hours passed, strength fading, until a bright light appeared in the distance. The human ship grew larger, its rugged industrial form the most beautiful sight Lyria had ever seen. Lyria pressed her face against the cold viewport glass as the human ship approached. The horizon was unlike any vessel she had seen before, bulky and industrial with patches of different metals like it had been repaired many times. It looked dangerous, just like the story said humans were. The docking procedure made the whole station shake. Lyria clutched a support beam, her weakened legs barely holding her up. She had tried to make herself presentable, smoothing her iridescent skin and straightening her simple uniform, but days without proper nutrition had left her looking pale and sickly. The airlock hissed. Lyria stepped back, suddenly afraid. All her life she had been told that humans were brutal carnivores who had somehow managed to join galactic society despite their violent nature. Now she was about to meet them face to face. The door slid open. A human in a dark uniform stepped through first. Captain Jiwoo was shorter than Lyria had expected, with alert eyes that quickly scanned the room. "Lyria?" the captain asked, her translator making her words understandable. Lyria nodded, unable to speak. Behind the captain came 3 more humans. They were all wearing simple work clothing with the Horizons logo. One carried what looked like medical equipment. "I'm Dr. Taiho," said the tallest human, moving forward slowly as if trying not to frighten her. "You don't look well. May I examine you?" Lyria backed away. "Your people eat meat," she whispered. The humans exchanged glances. The doctor nodded. "Yes, we're omnivores, but we're also doctors, engineers, and people who answered your call when no one else would." He held up empty hands. "Right now, I'm just a doctor who wants to help you." Hunger and weakness finally overcame fear. Lyria nodded and allowed Dr. Taiho to approach. His scanner hummed as he moved it over her body. "Severe atmospheric deficiency, nutritional imbalance, and early-stage hypothermia," he reported. "Suman, bring the environmental stabilizer." A female human with a kind face stepped forward carrying a small device. "This will help create a bubble of appropriate atmosphere around you until we can get you to our ship. We've prepared a special room for you." Lyria watched in amazement as the device activated, creating a faint shimmer in the air. Immediately, breathing became easier. Warmth spread through her body. "How did you know what I needed?" she asked. Suman smiled. "We researched Zeltaran physiology as soon as we received your call. Engineer Dohyun has been working non-stop to create a suitable environment on our ship." The 4th human, a stocky man with clever hands, nodded. "It's not perfect, but it will keep you alive until we can get you home." Captain Jiwoo was examining the station's logs at a nearby console. 7 ships, she muttered, her face darkening. 7 ships received your distress call and left you here. My people require special conditions, Lyria explained weakly. Most species find us too troublesome. To help. The captain's eyes flashed with anger. That's not an excuse. No one gets left behind just because they're inconvenient. As they prepared to move her to the ship, Lyria noticed Dr. Taiho taking samples of her food supplies. What are you doing? Taking samples so we can try to synthesize something similar, he explained. Our food would be harmful to you. The thought of the human's food made Lyria shudder. You eat dead animals. Instead of being offended, Dr. Taiho nodded. And plants. But don't worry. We understand your dietary needs are different. They helped Lyria through the airlock and onto their ship. The corridors were narrow and utilitarian but surprisingly clean. Crew members stopped and stared as she passed, but their expressions showed curiosity rather than hostility. The room they had prepared was small, but had clearly been modified specifically for her. The lighting mimicked Zeltara's sun. The air was humid and rich with the compounds her body needed. It's not home, Engineer Dohyun said apologetically. But it should keep you comfortable during the journey. Lyria sank onto the soft bed, overwhelmed by their kindness. "Why did you come for me when no one else would?" The humans looked at each other, seemingly confused by the question. "You needed help," Captain Jiwoo said simply. "That's what humans do. We help." That night, as the Horizon pulled away from the station and set course for Zeltaran space, Lyria lay awake thinking. All her life, she had been taught that humans were dangerous because of their predatory past. No one had mentioned their compassion, their resourcefulness, or their unwillingness to abandon someone in need. Through her viewport, she watched stars streak by as the ship accelerated. For the first time since being abandoned, Lyria felt hope. Perhaps the most frightening species in the galaxy was also the most humane. Lyria woke to the soft hum of the Horizon's engines. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she remembered. She was on a human ship, being taken home by the very species her people feared. 5 days had passed since her rescue. Each day, her strength returned a little more. The special room engineer Do-hyun had created maintained the perfect environment for her Zeltaran physiology. Dr. Taiho visited twice daily to check her health and adjust her treatments. Today, Lyria felt strong enough to explore. Captain Jiwoo had invited her to join the crew for their communal meal, an invitation that filled Lyria with both curiosity and anxiety. She stepped out of her room for the first time. The corridor was busier than she expected, with humans moving purposefully in both directions. They nodded politely as they passed, some smiling, others looking curious about their unusual passenger. Suman met her outside the mess hall. "Ready? To meet everyone? Don't worry, we've prepared special food for you." The mess hall doors slid open to reveal a large room filled with tables where humans ate together. Conversations paused as Lyria entered. She felt her skin flush with nervous color. "Everyone, this is Lyria," Captain Jiwoo announced. "She'll be joining us for meals from now on." To Lyria's surprise, several humans called out friendly greetings. A space had been cleared at one table, with a chair modified to accommodate her. Taller, slender frame. "We created these for you," Do-hyun said proudly, presenting a tray of food. "Synthesized from your supplies and supplemented with compatible plants from our hydroponic garden." The meal was not quite like Zeltaran food, but it was close enough to be satisfying. Lyria carefully avoided looking at the humans' plates, knowing they contained animal protein. "May I ask something?" Lyria said after gathering her courage. "Why? Does everyone call humans carnivores when you eat plants too?" The table grew quiet. Then Taeho laughed softly. "Politics mostly. When humans first joined galactic society, many species were frightened by our omnivorous diet. Some found it easier to label us as dangerous carnivores than to understand us. And we do have a history of conflict," added Jiwoo honestly, "but we've grown beyond that." The conversation shifted to lighter topics. The humans taught Lyria a card game, explaining the rules with patience. She was surprised by their laughter and camaraderie. These weren't the cold predators she had been warned about. Later that evening, Lyria joined Suman in the observation deck. The vast emptiness of space stretched before them, beautiful and frightening. "We'll reach Zeltaran space in 12 days, Suman said. "That's a significant detour from our original mining route." "Your company allows this?" Lyria asked. Suman smiled. "Captain Jiwoo didn't exactly ask permission. We'll face some questions when we return, but no one will question helping someone in need." The ship's alarm suddenly blared, making Lyria jump. Red lights flashed in the corridor. "All hands to stations," the captain's voice came over the speakers. "Unidentified vessel approaching at attack speed. This is not a drill." Suman's face grew serious. "Come with me. We need to get you to safety." They hurried through corridors, now filled with running crew members. Suman led Lyria to a secure room near the ship's center. "Stay here until someone comes for you," she instructed before racing away to her station. Through a small monitor in the room, Lyria watched the situation unfold. A pirate vessel had targeted the Horizon, likely assuming the mining ship would be an easy target. Captain Jiwoo's voice was steady as she ordered defensive maneuvers. The ship rocked as the pirates fired warning shots. "Attention, pirate vessel," Jiwoo broadcast. "We are carrying a Zeltaran passenger to safety. Any hostile action will be reported to both human and Zeltaran authorities." The pirates responded by launching boarding shuttles. Lyria watched in horror as armed intruders forced their way aboard. The monitor showed humans defending their ship, fighting with a controlled precision that spoke of their predatory heritage, yet also showing restraint when possible. The battle lasted less than an hour. The pirates, discovering the horizon carried little of value and faced unexpected resistance, retreated. When Taiho came to escort Lyria back to her quarters, his arm was bandaged. "You're injured," she said with concern. "It's nothing," he assured her. "Just a scratch from helping defend the engine room." "You fought to protect your ship," Lyria observed. "And me." "Of course," he replied, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "That's what we do for our own, and right now you're one of us." That night, Lyria recorded in her personal journal, "Perhaps what makes humans dangerous is not that they eat meat or have a warrior past. What makes them dangerous is that once they decide to protect something, they will let nothing stand in their way. Today they decided to protect me." The horizon approached the border of Zeltaran space after 2 weeks of travel. Lyria stood on the bridge beside Captain Jiwoo, watching her homeworld appear on the main screen. The beautiful blue-green planet glowed like a jewel against the darkness of space. "We've sent word to your government," Jiwoo said. "They should be expecting us." Lyria's excitement mixed with unexpected sadness. These humans had become her friends. Engineer Do-hyun had taught her simple repair techniques. Suman had shared stories of Earth. Even Dr. Taeho, with his serious manner, had shown kindness in his daily checkups. "Thank you for bringing me home," Lyria said. "Few would have done what you did." The captain smiled. "We're just glad we found you in time." The ship's sensors beeped urgently. 3 Zeltaran patrol vessels had appeared, moving quickly toward the horizon. "They're hailing us," Suman reported from her station. A stern Zeltaran face appeared on screen. Patrol leader Neron's fin-like appendages fluttered with obvious agitation. "Human vessel, stop immediately. You have entered restricted space without permission. Power down your engines now." Captain Jiwoo stepped forward. "This is Captain Jiwoo of the mining vessel Horizon. We're returning Zeltaran citizen Lyria, who was abandoned on research station Epsilon 9. Lyria moved into view. "Patrol leader, these humans rescued me when—" "Silence!" Neron snapped, his eyes narrowing. "Lyria, are you being coerced? Blink twice if you're under duress." "No, I'm not." The patrol leader ignored her. "Human vessel, you will power down. Now. We are detecting weapons on your ship. Any resistance will be met with force." Jiwoo signaled for calm as her crew tensed. "Our weapons are standard for protection in deep space. We just fought off pirates to keep your citizens safe." "A likely story," Neron replied coldly. "Humans are known for deception. Power down now, or we will fire." Captain Jiwoo ordered compliance. The horizon went dark except for life support systems. "They're boarding us," Do-hyun reported as the patrol ship docked. Armed Zeltaran security forces stormed the bridge. Their expressions showed disgust as they looked at the humans. They surrounded Lyria protectively as if rescuing her from monsters. "Take her for medical examination," Neron ordered. "Detain the humans for questioning." "This is outrageous," protested Jiwoo as her crew was placed in restraints. "We diverted our mission to save her life." Neron ignored her. "Humans entering Zeltaran space with weapons. Clearly you had hostile intentions, perhaps harvesting Zeltaran biological materials. Kidnapping for experiments? We know your kind." "No." Lyria tried to intervene, but guards pulled her away. "You don't understand, they saved me." The last thing she saw before being taken to a shuttle was Captain Jiwoo's resigned face as soldiers led her away. On the Zeltaran homeworld, medical staff examined Lyria thoroughly. They seemed determined to find evidence of mistreatment. "The humans did nothing wrong," she repeated. "They helped me when 7 other ships abandoned me." The doctor looked skeptical. Carnivores are naturally deceptive. Whatever they told you was likely a lie to gain your trust. Later, Lyria was brought before the Council of Elders. The Grand Chamber was filled with important Zelterans, all come to hear about her ordeal among humans. Elder Phalith, the head of the council, spoke first. "Child, you are safe now. Tell us what these humans did to you." "They saved my life," Lyria stated firmly. "When I was abandoned on the research station, I sent distress calls. 7 ships from different worlds received them. All refused to help because I was Zelteran. Only the humans came." Murmurs filled the chamber. Elder Phalith looked troubled. "Humans are known for their violence. Their ships carry weapons. They consume the flesh of other creatures. Surely you were afraid?" "At first, yes," Lyria admitted. "But they created special environments for me. They synthesized food I could eat. When pirates attacked, they protected me. Everything we believe about humans is wrong." "Where are these humans now?" asked another elder. "Being detained like criminals," Lyria said angrily. "While you honor me as a victim, you punish those who saved me." A messenger entered and whispered to Elder Phalith, whose expression grew concerned. "The human captain refuses diplomatic extraction," the elder announced. "Their government has offered to remove them from our custody, but the captain insists they will not leave until they know Lyria is safe and properly home." Silence fell over the chamber. Even in custody, the humans were still protecting her. "I demand to speak to Captain Jiwoo," Lyria said, standing tall, "and I will present evidence of what really happened. These humans deserve honor, not punishment." The elders conferred quietly. Finally, Elder Phalith nodded. "Very well. Bring the human captain. We will hear this strange tale in full." Lyria paced nervously in the antechamber of the Grand Council Hall. Today would change everything if she succeeded. She clutched a small data device containing all the evidence she had gathered. Logs from the research station, recordings of the 7 ships that abandoned her, and the complete journey aboard the Horizon. The doors opened. Captain Jiwoo entered, flanked by guards. Despite 5 days in detention, the human stood tall and dignified. Her eyes lit up when she saw Lyria. "You're well," Jiwoo said with obvious relief. "Good. I'm so sorry for how you've been treated," Lyria whispered. "I'm going to fix this." Before Jiwoo could respond, they were ushered into the council chamber. The room hushed as they entered. Hundreds of Zelterans filled the circular space, with the 12 elders seated on raised platforms. Elder Phalith's voice echoed through the chamber. "This council has gathered to determine the truth regarding the human vessel Horizon and its interactions with Zelteran citizen Lyria. Humans have never been permitted such an audience before. These are extraordinary circumstances." Lyria stepped forward. "Elders, I request permission to present evidence directly to the council's systems." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Such a request was unusual, but Elder Phalith nodded. "Proceed." Lyria connected her data device to the central console. Within moments, the chamber darkened and the first recording began to play. The screens showed Lyria's increasingly desperate distress calls. They displayed the 7 ships that received her signal and their responses, each making excuses, each leaving her to die. Next came the moment when the Horizon answered her call. The council watched as Captain Jiwoo and her crew diverted their mission without hesitation. They saw Dr. Taiho working through nights to create treatments for Lyria. They watched engineer Do-hyun building environmental controls specifically for her needs. The footage showed humans defending their ship against pirates putting themselves at risk to keep Lyria safe. It showed shared meals, card games, and growing friendship. When the recordings ended, the chamber remained silent. Many Zeltarans looked down in shame. Lyria faced the council. "For generations, we have taught our children that humans are dangerous because they evolved as predators. We call them carnivores as if it were a shameful thing. But when I needed help, when I was dying alone, these dangerous predators were the only ones who came." She gestured to Captain Jiwoo. "Yes, humans carry weapons, which they use to protect me. Yes, they eat meat. But they also respected my diet and created food I could eat. They showed more compassion than any of the peaceful species that abandoned me. Elder Phaleth's fins trembled slightly. Captain Jiwoo, do you wish to address this council? Jiwoo stepped forward. Her voice was clear and strong. What Lyria says is true. Humans evolved as predators, yes. We still carry those instincts. But we've learned to channel them into protection rather than aggression. We protect what we value. Our homes, our friends, those who need help. Lyria needed help. That was enough for us. Elder Phaleth consulted with the other elders before, speaking again. It seems we have been mistaken in our judgment, both of humans and of this situation. She stood. Captain Jiwoo and crew of the Horizon, the Zeltaran Council extends its formal apology for your treatment. Your actions in saving one of our people show true honor. The detention orders were officially withdrawn. The Council voted to establish the first-ever cultural exchange program between Zeltara and Earth. And most surprisingly, they invited Captain Jiwoo to address the full Zeltaran Congress, the first human ever granted such an honor. 3 months later, Lyria stood before a class of young Zeltarans. As the newly appointed ambassador to Earth, her first task was education. Today we learn about humans, she said to the wide-eyed children. Not as the monsters in old stories, but as they truly are. A small child raised her hand. Teacher says, humans eat meat, isn't that scary? Lyria smiled. Humans are omnivores, they eat plants and animals, but that's just one part of who they are. They're also deeply loyal, incredibly resourceful, and fiercely protective of those they consider friends. She activated a hologram showing the horizon. This ship traveled far off course to save me when no one else would. The humans aboard risked their lives for a stranger from a world that feared them. That's the true nature of humans. Not what they eat, but what they're willing to sacrifice for others. Another child asked, are they still dangerous? Yes, Lyria answered honestly. But not in the way we thought. They're dangerous when their friends are threatened. They're dangerous when they see injustice. And I'm very glad to call them allies now. That evening, Lyria received a message from Captain Jiwoo. The Horizon was returning to Zeltaran space, this time for the official signing of the Human-Zeltaran Cooperation Treaty. We're bringing strawberries from Earth, the message read. Our botanists say they're compatible with your physiology. I think you'll like them. Lyria smiled. The most feared predators in the galaxy had become her people's most valued friends. Sometimes the universe worked in strange and wonderful ways.